the most fun for players because it gives the players the opportunity to play against the most amount of teams rather than other types of algorithms that would be single elimination. This creates more of a community environment in your tournament. So I chose a round robin algorithm. I did a Gantt sheet to create a timeline for my project. Everything was successfully deployed on time for my first tournament. And what's next? So I'm going to keep organizing more tournaments. I had successfully organized 2 already, had a lot of great community involvement. I had 26 people participate in my first tournament, 13 teams, and the tournament software ran like it should. So I wanted to expand it to do more tournaments, offer more features. After the first tournament, I found some different features that might make it easier for the organizer, like an on-deck feature so that we could get players ready to go on court quickly, the next court, and then in progress so you can see what players were actually on the courts. And then there was another feature coming up next, so that way we could help organize and keep things going quicker. So there were some features that I added after testing that I didn't have originally. I'd like to create a mobile app so that every tournament player could actually download this on their phone, have push notifications sent to them, and go to what court at what time. So there are more features that you can expand on to make this even more seamless and more streamlined. So my community ask for this is, I have no experience monetizing and commercializing software. That is completely out of my wheelhouse. But if there is a community member that has had experience with monetizing and commercializing software, I would love some guidance in that perspective. I also, this was just a student project that I did as, a senior for my capstone project with UNC Asheville. But marketing and brand growth, creating more community outreach. I know that there's opportunities to share this type of platform with country clubs, with rec centers, with parks and things in the community, with organizations that want to have a pickleball tournament. I feel like there's an opportunity with pickleball's growth that it could start outpacing some of these charity golf tournaments or 5K races. I feel like maybe there's an opportunity for pickleball to become the new type of fundraiser or community event, and that may be signs showing that golf and charity races are kind of becoming less and less popular. So I feel like there's an opportunity for pickleball to kind of take some of that place and some of that market. And then so I have a functioning web application that works on a phone or a laptop, but the mobile app piece. So creating a mobile app that would be deployable for iOS and for Android devices. Thank you.
All right, questions for Maria?
Good morning. Thank you very much. My name is Peter. A suggestion and then a question. So looking at your software, there's lots of white space, which is fine. Have you talked to sponsors, potential maybe equipment manufacturers who could help you fund this? And then the question is, the estimate of how many players there are was like from 20 million to 40 million. Is there no source that could help you make that more accurate?
Those are great questions. So I have thought, actually, my professor thought of an idea. He's like, on those printable bracket sheets, what if you got an organizer to put their logo on there so that when it's printed, they have their name on that bracket sheet? For tournament advertising. That was actually professor and get it in the community to do that. And then the second question was asking more about, right, it's hard to tell. I know that it's picking up, it's becoming a more popular sport. It's hard to tell the demographic, exactly how many. I feel like a pickleball player could just be somebody that casually plays once a month with friends, or you have the people that literally are on the court 5 days a week, are playing every day. So it's kind of hard to get that type of information, that accurate statistic.
Maybe a sponsor has access to that, so we can mix the rackets or whatever.
Yes, and we've seen that more with just like Brandon Pickleball, with Tesla even created their own pickleball paddle. Like that's how much this is taken off, is that there's a Tesla pickleball paddle that's $400 or $500. So I mean, it's like there are big companies that are getting into pickleball, and you see that through some of the merchandise and some of the pickleball associated things that are out there now. Great question.
Hi, amazing, great presentation. I work in Grove Park community, and I put out the publication for Grove Park. And just on the demographics, since you've been doing this, and by the way, I was in Naples, Florida, which is pretty much the epicenter for pickleball. And have you seen the demographic drop? It seems to have plummeted. I mean, I've been playing about 10 years. And I can remember I was in my 50s when my wife said, go check out that game, they're playing pickleball. And I was 50-something, I said, oh God, I am way too young for that. And that was in my 50s. And now, you're hard pressed to find, I can find people my own age, but I play a lot with people in their 30s and 40s. Have you seen that demographic drop since you've been doing this?
Yes, I have, and I'm glad you remarked on that too, is there's a lot more younger players playing pickleball. And I think one of the appeal things with pickleball is that it's so easy to pick up. I mean, it's something that it's very, all you really need is a pickleball paddle and a public court, and you can go out and play pickleball. And it doesn't cost a lot to get started. You don't have to buy a whole set of golf clubs. There are lots of public opportunities and places to play. So I think that has been really appealing to some of the younger generation too, with picking up pickleball so quickly, is that there's an opportunity to play at very low cost.
Just one more point, because you came from a tennis background, and many people do, but
Yeah.
many people don't. That just like you said, pick up a paddle. But don't you find that the learning curve is by far simpler? I mean,
Yes.
It's easy.
And it's a quicker style of play. Each game lasts about 10 or 15 minutes. And I think people who might have played ping pong or badminton can pick the pickleball up quickly.
Hey, I'm Eric. I've got kind of a two-part question. So the first half is sort of, do you have a sense of who the buyer for the software is going to be? Like my assumption would be like Parks and Rec departments, like someone like Grove Park West might have own the pickleball court. And then the other half of the question is, do you know what those buyers are doing currently for managing tournaments, and do you have a way of kind of setting your own product apart as something unique?
That would be something I would need help with, is how to price it or how to create a subscription piece so that breweries now have pickleball courts at them. So there's several local breweries that have added pickleball courts. Asheville Sport and Social Club downtown has something similar. So it's marketing to those types of organizations or businesses where they can subscribe to my pickleball tournament software to manage their tournament.
Hey, Maria, great job. My question is around, so not direct competitors or pickleball management specifically, but other adjacent competitors that might be other round robin type of tournament management. What's out there in terms of that, and what are going to be requirements for pickleball specifically?
There is tournament platforms, and there are tournament platforms that work with pickleball, but it seems like they have not gained a lot of traction yet to where I've participated in pickleball tournaments, and people are still using brackets and clipboards and pencils. So if there is tournament software out there, it still hasn't become, implemented in tournament play locally and within the pickleball community. So I think there is an option for more growth within the pickleball tournament software.
Hi, Maria. I'm Amanda.
This was great, thanks, especially as a non-pickleball player.
Oh, wonderful.
That was similar to my question, but I want to understand two things.
One is, what is specific to pickleball about this? That, like, does it have applications for other sports, or is it specific to pickleball, and why? And then the second part is, as you said, there are breweries, there's Parks and Rec. Have you looked into, what is the cost for them, like, in running one of these events, and what's the purpose? Is it for profit? And when I say cost, like, what's the time and the labor? Because you can assign a number to that, and then help figure out at what point does it make it worth someone to pay, or is this an advertiser model? Because I'd be curious why the other round robin type software hasn't spread. If it's like a big pain point, are people looking for this? Or do you need to show them why it's worth their time?
I know that when I participated in the pickleball tournament, it was about $50 entry fee. So some of the pickleball tournaments are expensive, and that was probably on the lower end of cost. So I think it's mostly going towards the labor of the employees working it. Again, and that's more information I kind of need to gather about, why hasn't, tournament software like this been implemented in more pickleball tournaments, and, why is this still a pain point with a lot of manual registration pieces to do this? So that needs a little bit more research.
Hey Maria, I'm Matthew.
Hey, Matthew.
Thank you. So my question is very similar. I think that's going to be really powerful for you gaining traction with this idea, doing a competitive analysis and saying, here's the different options, and here's why these are not gaining traction the way that I imagine this could, and this is why this is different, and this will gain traction. So I would just continue that research. But your question about like market adoption, I don't know anything about pickleball. I've never played. My dad plays. I would love to play, but I don't know anything. You were presenting a did a little research, because one of the very questions we asked of the community was, how do I build the brand and the marketing around that? I would, maybe Parks and Rec, we don't know this. I would say you need to test this and validate this, but maybe Parks and Rec, but there's like USA Pickleball, National Collegiate Pickleball Association, the PPA, which is like the Pickleball Pro Association. So I would look at them and see if you could beta prototype within one region and get validated data and get quotes and testimonials and say, it takes on average 97 seconds to check it manually. With this app, it takes 14 seconds on average. And there's usually 17 people online. And think about, because you need to dial into the pain that these organizers are experiencing and say, I have the aspirin that's going to remove your headache.
Right. And that was one thing I noticed is that, I ran these pickleball tournaments mostly by myself. And they were smaller tournaments, about 20, 30 people. But that was something that it was manageable for just one organizer. So kind of, sharing that with these types of organizations that want to host pickleball tournaments, like it can reduce the amount of people that are needed to help organize a tournament by using this type of software. And really kind of using that. I forgot about what is specific about my software that is for pickleball. I think it could very well be expanded to other sports too. It doesn't have to be just pickleball. The way I have it written right now with my algorithm is specific for pickleball. And if those of you who play pickleball, the hardest part is the scoring. So in understanding the scoring and keeping up with how that scoring piece works with the game. So right now, my algorithm works for pickleball and for round robin style play, but I think it could be expanded to other types of sports.
Hello, wonderful presentation. And it seems to me like you have kind of, the first, what is it called when you're like the first person to do it? And you have an advantage? Yeah, first market advantage, because you're like really putting this together and coming up with that. It doesn't sound like there's a whole lot of other stuff that's out there. And so that is very, very powerful. So my main question is, when you're developing your app and you're figuring out how you want to get it out there to people, or whether or not you're marketing this to businesses or to large groups or to kind of stuff Matthew was talking about, if you thought about possibly going into something like, the Microsoft Store or iStore and stuff like that, where people can pick it up individually. And so if you've got people, like you said, who are just doing weekend events, or they just want to go ahead and go out there and play, maybe they don't have 50 people out there, but maybe they've got like 12, and enough so that it would be great to have something like this, and then be able to mass market to a really, really large community. Have you thought about, what it would be like to get your app out there on those kind of platforms?
And I think maybe that's where my software might make it different, rather than being a big organized tournament with PPA or one of the big pickleball organizations or governments, would be more community oriented play, where you could do that. You have a small group of people like the actual pickleball association that wants to have a little tournament, and they have about 30 or 40 players, and they want something to manage the tournament easier. I think that's maybe where my software would be something that would be preferred.
Maria, is this something you want to do full-time?
So Erica did mention I'm graduating May 9th from UNC Asheville, and my plan is to be an IT project manager for DevOps. So this has been for system logistics in Arden.
Great company.
I will be having a full-time job, but this has been my passion project, and I spent so much time working on this for my capstone project. I just don't want to let it, die. I want it to still keep up with it. And I know I'm not going to be stopping playing pickleball, so I really want to keep working
So
on this.
here's why I asked that question.
Yes.
This is something you want to keep doing.
Yeah.
You graduate, you put your LinkedIn
URL.
up there. There's nothing about this on your LinkedIn. And you might want to get like a dedicated email address at Dill, which leads to my
Next question. What are you doing about intellectual property?
Because if you Google Big Dill Pickleball, you're not showing up until I put Big Dill Pickleball where we had it. And the first that pops up is Brian's YouTube stream.
By the way, Brian, your
Audio
audio
sounds great. Very good with the wireless mic. Fantastic. So yeah, question about intellectual property. Thank
No,
you.
that's the thing, this is becoming kind of a big deal, I didn't really expect it to take off like it did. But the fact that I have a working tournament software for pickleball, I spent a lot of time working on it and developing it, but it was a kind of surprise and shock to me that it actually worked and did what it was supposed to. It's not. But yeah, I might need to, my professor's maybe enterprise, maybe enterprise with this, do something with it. So that's where I kind of decided to come out here and start talking to people about it and mentioning it to people within our community, and starting with Asheville first.
Tony.
So I was thinking about what Jeffrey was just, focusing on. I think that intellectual property, claims thing is really important. So two things. One, when are you regular someone's going to do it? I remember being a kid in the 70s and seeing a weed eater commercial. Because I had a long time, was running around 12-year-old cutting grass and using grass scissors, And then this weed eater commercial goes on TV. I'm like, oh my God, somebody created a weed eater. Somebody's got to go first. So why not you? But you're one person. Just did this for a school product, and big guns are gonna come after this. So I think if you really want to monetize this, it's important for you to quickly do the big things Jeffrey was just talking about, and secure your position. And I don't know legalities and all that, but there's some version of that. And then the other thing that occurs to me, and some other people have alluded to this, I can't imagine that the really big players in this emerging industry wouldn't be interested in having their own, total software. But instead of competing with you, you can say to them, say, hey, that's starting. And if you have intellectual property rights to it, they may be willing to pay. And last thing is, what's your name? Paul. Paul was talking about, being able to go to a store and buy as an individual user. I would think that if I was a tournament organizer, I'd rather just
download a free app that lets me do that. Well, the sponsors would be motivated to make that app for free because it promotes their products. And I think the free app should outperform the ones that people have to pay for. So I just think that in my thinking about this, there are lots of indicators that are pointing in a single direction, which is to get begins to in money. I think the former is probably more likely. Anyway, kudos to you for
Yeah, like Tony was saying, that's my thing to ask is, you know, how do I start making this bigger? How do, like, does anyone have experience, you know, monetizing or commercializing software? That is something that, you know, and like, we don't really have experience with that either. So that would be my community ask is, you know, I would love to pitch this to somebody bigger, but how do I do that?
Hi, Maria. My name is Bhagavan. Great presentation. Wonderful questions and ideas were thrown at you. You said that you wanted to be a more community-based app. And again, this I think more information we could research and look at. But the rec centers and all the stuff that the organizers that are putting pickleball tournaments on, because usually I feel at that level, if it's you know. They might have once a year, so, and you might get volunteers or something like that to bring the pickleball software to, so to go, you know, from these other ideas, having that community organizer is going to say, you know, what's the best, you know, community-based pickleball thing that I have, kind of refines your target market and your audience to know who are you actually building this for. You're building it for sponsors, the place that are hosting events, you know, that may not be as used as much as communities who are out there saying, hey, let's have a pickleball association, and even having the ability to say, does this app have the ability to, like you were saying, to do an app that users have as well, and with the capability of having tournaments, that I think that would help refine the market.
I think you nailed it. Yeah, I think I intended this more as a software that would be for community, like smaller tournaments, smaller events. And I kind of noticed when I was hosting and organizing my pickleball tournaments, it really did become a community event. It was, you know, a smaller group, but it was, I really liked the aspect of it staying kind of a small community thing and just making it easier for, you know, a group of friends or a small organization to host a tournament that might have 50 people.
Hello, my name's Howard. I just wanted to ask if you consider tapping into online communities as a way of kind of scaling the beta testing. I think of subreddits related to pickleball, subreddits related to Asheville, Facebook groups, and things like that. Probably wouldn't even take too much time right now to start accruing that data when you do, you know, scale development or find a product. You can have a whole list of stuff that people, issues or suggestions. I think others have talked about, I just want to say one more comment. Others have talked about maybe there are other tournament apps in the space that could do this, but if they're not packaging it for the pickleball demographic, that's an opportunity. So even if those products can do that, if you give it to that, productize it for that market, that's an opportunity.
And I think I do, even though it could be expanded to other types of sports, I do like the idea of keeping it specific for pickleball. And I think that the growth of the pickleball community kind of shows that too. I feel like it could be enough in and of itself just to stay with pickleball rather than going into like ping pong, badminton, or tennis, or you know, something like that, which would apply. But I think it could be very much something that just stayed within pickleball.
Rachel?
Hi, Maria. So I think I'm kind of in the train that we've been going of, if you step back, sometimes I think it's easy to sort of get entrenched in the way things are done and where do I fit in this. But when you step back, sometimes we can like innovate hybrid ideas. So, if you're if instead of going for large tournaments, we're talking more community stuff, and we're thinking about where people are at emotionally, looking for connection, looking for recreation, their people. Is there some way to sort of hybrid this without a meetup type of model where people are actually, I want to get involved in pickleball, and here's an easy way to like start my own and then find people right around me who we want to do this on a regular basis. So some kind of hybrid with that. And then I have another question, and that, or another, well, this is a question. How much are you leveraging vibe coding?
So I did use AI tools to help with the development of it. And that really helped make it quicker for me to implement and test. So I did use AI coding tools to help with the implementation of the software. Yeah.
I mean, I think you should lower it so as hard as you can,
Yeah.
because anybody else will. So if you can really identify the human motivation and then leverage AI for everything else, so that all of your energy is going into meeting human need, and let an AI do all the software. But I think keeping it like really centered on what your motivation is personally, if you're not going to make this your career, then making it something really simple and straightforward and automated that really meets a human need.
And I love that you mentioned the meetup aspect of it too, because there are pickleball type of meetup apps already, so you can join an app and you can look at, the public courts that are offering times available, and you can meet up with a group where people sign up. So I really think that would be a good idea to maybe tie the tournament software to some of those already existing meetup apps for pickleball. I think it's a good idea.
Also, just for research, you might want to talk to people who disc golf, because they're like, it's like you're on a sport kind of like that, and it's a little bit further down the road, and kind of see how that's evolved, and what you like and what you don't like.
That's a good thing to consider too. And I didn't answer your question about the Reddit and some of those online messaging platforms that actually try to, blast some of this information to. But I feel like that might be a good opportunity to at least demo, check it out, check out the web app, try to, organize a tournament, use some test names and teams, and get some more feedback on some pain points with the software.
I'm going to kind of take last question here. So have you thought about making it something that's white labeled? So it would look like the racket clubs, it would look like the racket clubs app. They can put it in their sponsors for tournaments. They can collect all the data for players from the back reports, and then you could even still do the meetup kind of things for free.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. But I feel like a lot of the organizations would probably really like that because they want to have ownership of the tournament sponsorship.
Yeah.
So, and use their own sponsorships to help with the tournament organization. That's a great idea, Erica.
Thanks, Maria. Let's put our hands together for Maria.
Great.
And I feel like it's not working with questions, so you'll have to ask her one-on-one after this. And I think the big ask is if you know somebody that can help Maria take this to market, that's really why she's here today, looking for this, for this community partnership. So we gave her a lot of suggestions, but do you have connections? Let's go. All right. A minute. I want to give a huge shout out to all of our event sponsors: Charlie Toy Ball, who generously donated space each week; Hashworks Covert Week, Mountain BizWorks, The Pistify, Hence the Idea, Patrick O'Kane of EOS Entrepreneurial Systems, the Hatch Innovation Hub Hatch Foundation, Barrett Berkshire Garsley Group, ERC Broadband, Rick Creative, Dynamite Coffee Roasting Company, Broadbean Live Media, which is Brian right back there. He's recording every week and putting this on YouTube with their 3-angle clips. Pretty impressive. What's Carolina University and score? Next week's speaker is actually a mystery speaker. So hang tight for that. We just received word that Cameron won't be able to make it this week, so we'll push him down the line. But I'm sure next week will be great. Perhaps it will be great, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, so upcoming events, Asheville Buster Fest. I've always wondered how this will work, and I did hear marimba band recently. And Dad, has anyone else ever heard of marimba band? It's like the coolest thing. It's like you find yourself in downtown and you're like, it sounds like a Nintendo game from my childhood. What is happening? It is the coolest thing. Anyways, I know they were approached to play that, and I was like, how do we make money? And they were like, yeah, that's what we wondered too. So I'm really curious about the Buster Fest. That would be fun and interesting. That's May 2nd and 3rd. Foundation's business planning course is happening. Sign up. If you have an idea for a business, it is the best and most effective way to really develop it in a timely way with a lot of structure. And also with Mountain BizWorks, the QuickBooks Management Series is coming up. If you'd like to sponsor, come see me afterwards. And if you'd like to present, scan the QR code and apply. Thank you so much for coming. Go play some pickleball and have a fabulous Wednesday.